104 Reasons to Believe in the Geocentric Model, 70 through 80. 70. Lies can only be explained with more lies. We went from matter and energy to antimatter and anti-energy to dark matter and dark energy. We went from an infinite universe to a never-expanding universe to multiple universes. It took General Relativity to explain the Special Theory of Relativity just to rationalize relativity, and it took relativity to make any sense out of gravity, and it took gravity to explain how life on a spinning ball is possible. Also, gravity is being used to explain everything else that science can't explain, which is a lot. Meanwhile, Albert Einstein invents nothing, discovers nothing, has no breakthroughs and proves no theories. And yet he wins 2 Nobel Peace Prizes for writing on chalkboards that only Sir Arthur Eddington and the 1% geniuses say that they can understand. Everyone else is just too stupid. 71. There's a curvature, but we can't see it. There's a spin, but we can't feel it. There's a space, but we can't go to it. There's a force, but we can't measure it. Well, there's a pattern, and I can see it. A well-informed public would not do well for a free workforce. They only pay us because it's far more practical to pay us than it is to feed, house and maintain over 8 billion slaves. 72. Up until the 1920s, teachers were being prosecuted for teaching the geocentric model, and when we switched to the heliocentric model, we effectively kicked God out of the classroom. Next, the pledging of our allegiance to the flag with its "under one God" was banned. Evolution and Darwinism took center stage, while God and creation was relegated to Sunday schools. And the churches with their priests who adorned themselves in gold dared not to oppose the state. And so the Bible, especially the book of Genesis, became rationalized instead of realized. What started off as 500 books have now been whittled down to a mere 33 books. And I'm sure that they are not finished yet. 73. The arguments for a ball Earth are few and slim. They are, if the world was flat then ships would fall off the horizon, but ships did go beyond that horizon and then came back, and similar to that is, the Earth must be round because you can see ships going below the horizon, but of course the telescope always brought them back into view. And then there's Eratosthenes' 2-stick shadow experiment. But if there are 2 sticks that are miles apart, then the shadows are going to be at different angles, no matter what. The experiment was invalid. Born 276 BCE, died 194 BCE, and yet people will still use it to this day. And then there's Earth's shadow on the moon's surface. We've covered that with the earlier simple 2-ball experiment. Debunked, but their best argument is their default response statement: anybody who thinks the world is flat is an idiot. Debatable. And I think, lastly, is that there are miles of images and videos. If you think that images and videos are reality, then you might as well stop reading now. Who really has the intellectual high ground here? A college dropout with too much time on his hands, or those who believe that it's easier and more rewarding to be deceitful than it is to be honest? Whatever slim evidence that the world is a globe has already been addressed. The problem is, convincing people of a lie is so much easier than convincing them that they've been lied to. 74. Flat Earth isn't a conspiracy, ball Earth is. Pythagoras of Samos, 570 BC 490 BC. From the age of sorcery, I give you the father of ball Earth. 75. Each generation is being dumbed down. We used to have a vocabulary of tens of thousands of words. Shakespeare enjoyed over 50,000 words. Today we can grunt out maybe 3,000 words. The greatest literature ever were written in quill. 76. They put fluoride, the main ingredient in rat poisoning, in our toothpaste and drinking water to keep our minds dorsal. Why? As if I really need to ask, who was it that once said, "What luck for rulers that men do not like to think." And he also said, if you tell a lie long enough and loud enough, then people will start to believe it. I can't say or print his name on the internet or it will be taken down, what with free speech not being what it is, but he was a squirmy little man from Germany, who I think always had a fly on his upper lip. 77. They take the jawbones of modern human skeletons and pull it out about an inch and call it a caveman. And a few years ago in Montana National Glacier Park, they had to remove signs that said the glaciers will all be gone by the year 2020. Creation is only a few thousand years old, not millions. They are trying to steal our birthrights by hiding our origins. 78. Flat earthers have always had an extremely high retention rate. Once someone finally realizes that the earth really is flat, once they have broken the governmental spell, they can never go back to believing in the lie, any more than anyone else can go back to believing in whatever lie that they have dispelled. For better or for worse, we realize that there is no ball earth to go back to, there never was. All flat earthers have already been where all others are at now. We've all known from the first grade that the earth was a spinning ball in infinite space. We all knew that only an idiot could believe in a flat earth. But we outgrew the first grade and we started to think for ourselves, as I hope others will too. It took me almost 60 years to see what is obvious and break the heliocentric spell that I was conditioned to believe in. I feel like I wasted the best part of my life, but at least I won't die as an ignorant fool. I could never go back believing in a ball earth any more than I could go back believing in a Santa Claus. Once you go flat, you can never go back. 79. If you film the sun setting and then play it back and fast forward, you will see that the sun isn't just appearing to be setting, it is drastically sweeping towards the north, at least from the point of view of someone that lives in North America. The sun is on a circuit, invisible tracks, going around and around, and not up and down. This is just like an airplane flying over the horizon coming towards the observer. It only appears to be gaining altitude as it approaches you, but once it has reached its zenith, directly over your head, it will then appear to be descending. But in actuality it has been flying level all the time. If the Earth was really a ball, then we would be taught in grade school that it's flat. 80. If you are about 6 foot tall and you stand on the beach and look straight out, you'll see what looks like ships going over the apparent horizon at about 3 miles out. But the thing is, if you can look out 3 miles and see what looks like ships going over a horizon or the bottom of buildings behind water, then all you have to do is look 3 miles to your left and 3 miles to your right, and that's 6 miles of no curvature at all. So if ships are not going over a horizon 6 miles out, then they certainly can't be going over any curvature 3 miles out. Now can they?